So now we welcome Dr. Ravinder Singh Rao, who is an interventional cardiologist, and he expertises in complex angioplasty and TAVR and TMVR. These are the aortic and mitral valve replacement without doing any surgery. And he specializes in interventional cardiology from Mount Sinai Hospital, New York, USA, and structural heart disease fellowship from Washington, University of Medicine, Central USA, and he has expertise of doing highest number of TAVR cases in India and Southeast Asia. He also treats calcified blockage with the rotablator technique in the safest way. Dr. Rao is one of the leading operator of TAVR, complex angioplasty, and rotablator. So I'll request Dr. Rao to tell us what specific precautions one should take during these COVID era of the patients. Dr. Rao, all is yours.
Thank you very much, sir, for the kind words. And thank you for giving me the opportunity on your platform where we can share our thoughts and views for the medical fraternity as well as for the public, how this pandemic is affecting the cardiac patients. Now, we are seeing two different type of challenges. Number one, heart patients who are already having cardiac problems, how they should be taking care of their heart during the COVID pandemic. Number two, how is COVID affecting the cardiovascular system? So I would answer the second question first. We are seeing a lot of patients who are suffering from COVID pneumonia and advanced COVID disease who present with pulmonary thromboembolism, thrombosis in the veins, and also sudden cardiac arrest. Now, what we have understood that COVID is a systemic inflammatory disorder. After 7 to 10 days, there is systemic inflammation which sets in, D dimer is elevated. Now, in the histopathology, it was shown that there are microthrombi which form in the pulmonary vasculature, and that's why majority of these patients are on blood thinners. COVID can directly affect the heart muscle, thereby decreasing the efficiency, and patients can set into cardiac failure. COVID can also cause thrombosis of the coronary arteries, and such patients can present with ST elevation MI. Earlier, in the pre-COVID era, when a patient presented to us with ST elevation MI, we would do a primary angioplasty in such patients. But in COVID patient, when they present with ST elevation MI, we don't do a primary angioplasty, we rather do a thrombolysis. The reason is such patients have diffuse thrombosis and they might be treated better with a systemic thrombolytic agent and not with a primary angioplasty. We can take them for a primary angioplasty if there is a thrombolysis failure, which we call it as rescue angioplasty, provided such patients don't have futile outcome based on their lung condition. Now, let us come to the second question. How is COVID interacting with patients who already have cardiovascular disease? So patients who have cardiovascular disease, they also have other comorbidities like obesity, like diabetes, elderly, and various other comorbidities. Such patients are at high risk of developing a serious COVID infection. So definitely these patients need to take special precaution so that they don't encounter a COVID infection. And if they get infected, they need to see their physician at the earliest so that the treatment can be initiated. Now, there are a lot of controversy and confusion which is going on about cardiac patients and COVID vaccination. I get queries every day, should we stop our blood thinner or not? So if a patient is on antiplatelet, which is aspirin and clopidogrel, such a patient should not stop their blood thinner and they should go for their vaccination as a routine. Number two, if a patient is on anticoagulation like acetylene or warfarin, usually these medicines are given for patients who have mechanical cardiac valve, or number two, if a patient has pulmonary thromboembolism or a deep vein thrombosis. For such patients, they should get their PT-INR done. If the PT-INR is less than 2.5, they should go for their COVID vaccination as a routine. Now, if the PT-INR is more than 2.5, they can stop the medicine for a day. Next day, they can undergo a COVID vaccination and then restart their medicine in the usual schedule. Now, there is another question which comes up that patients who are getting COVID vaccination, they are developing heart attack. Let me tell you, there is no scientific evidence. These are anecdotal reports, and these might be mere coincidence because a lot of false news propagates in the social media, as well as there are anecdotal reports in the newspaper that such and such person got a COVID vaccine and next day he died from heart attack. So in medical science, this could just be this could just happen by chance, that these are two events which might be happening independently, but they happen at the same time. So there is no cause effect relationship. And let me make it very clear, as of now there is no scientific evidence that a certain vaccine causes heart attack. So we know that we are all facing this sudden explosion of the second wave in our country. Whenever there is time for vaccination, people should get vaccinated. Now, the other important thing which we are facing in our day-to-day practice is, how do we take care of cardiac patients who are not COVID positive but present with cardiac emergency? Now, what was noticed during the COVID first wave is the cardiac patients in the hospital decreased. But what was happening is most of the patients stayed home, and there was almost 400% increase in cardiac mortality at home. And the reason was people were scared of coming to the hospital. And then they started presenting to us very late. And what we noticed complications like ventricular septal rupture, sudden cardiac death, cardiac tamponade, which used to happen in 1980s when the cardiac treatment or primary PCI was not available. So as we all know that cardiac emergency does not come with an appointment. If there is a cardiac issue, the patient should consult the nearest physician and let the physician evaluate. Now, we also need to provide a COVID-safe environment for these cardiac patients, or I would say for patients who have non-COVID disease. Now, at present, the entire health system is overwhelmed by the COVID cases. There is demand in ICU beds, there is demand in oxygen supply, oxygen and critical care doctors and nurses. What if it is possible? I had expressed my views in earlier some other platform. There are two ways to do it. If in a community, a certain hospital can be designated like this hospital is for non-COVID and all other hospitals could be for COVID. But a more practical solution is in a particular hospital, there could be a very small segment which could be dedicated purely to non-COVID patients in a COVID-safe environment. And there are multiple ways in doing it, and Sir knows it very well, and all the administrators know it very well. So such as areas should be designated so that the patients don't acquire infection from the hospital. The reason cardiac patients delay their treatment is because they are scared that if they come to the hospital, they will acquire COVID infection. Now, once we give them a COVID-safe cardiac care, these patients will be able to take their treatment on time. So my message to everybody is COVID and heart, definitely there is an interaction. We all are learning about it. We all as clinicians start these patients on anticoagulant based on the D-dimer value. Now, a lot of patients, even in the community have started talking about D-dimer. So if your D-dimer is high and you are discharged from the hospital, we would give you an anticoagulant, which could be Eliquis or rivaroxaban for at least 2 weeks, and then we would repeat a D-dimer. There's no point in repeating D-dimer every day. Now, second is if you are a cardiac patient, you need to continue your medicines as usual and take your COVID vaccination when it is on time. Third point, if you have a cardiac symptom, don't ignore it. Don't stay at home. Go to your nearest doctor and let him evaluate. Thank you very much from my side, and thank you, sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for the nice interactive these information, and it was really very helpful for the patient. Thank you very much for giving your
Thank
time.
you, sir.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thank